Okay, we're going to try to run a calibration now with the pH probe in the yellow buffer solution. Go to menu and enter on calibration. And there's two inputs on this meter. Input 1 is the pH probe on input 1. Enter there. And we're going to go with 2-point calibration because it's going to use 4 and 7. Enter here. And I'm going to try an auto calibration. Enter. It tells me put the probe in the first buffer solution, press enter. It is in pH buffer 7 now, so I can push enter. So you're supposed to wait a minute for the reading to stabilize. Once the reading is really kind of stabilized, you can press enter again. Usually you wait at least a minute here. So I'll pause and let it rest a minute. If it's moving around still a little bit, you can move the probe around a little bit in the solution to help it get a good reading. And once it's sort of stabilized, you can push enter again. And it says, is the buffer a 7 that it's in? You can push enter to continue. I'm going to push enter because it is in 7. So now it tells me to put the probe in the second buffer solution, which I'll do next. Okay, now the probe is placed back in pH 4. I can push enter to continue. And I'm supposed to wait again another minute at least so that that number stops moving around so much. If it fluctuates between two of the same numbers, so 16, 17, 16, 17, you can pretty much say it's it. But if it's actually drifting, that's where you want to let it sit and attain a constant reading. You can move the probe around a little bit in the cup and help it get a good mix, get a good reading there if you have to. So I want to give it some time. I'll pause the video for a second to let it achieve a stable reading. Okay, it's pretty much stabilized right around 4.9 and 410. So I'm going to hit enter. And it asks me, is it pH 4? Yes, that's in solution pH buffer 4. I say OK. And it's telling me now the calibration is complete. The slope is 58.90 millivolts per pH unit. That's an efficiency of 99.56%. The offset is minus 4.7 millivolts. It's hit enter to accept. So I can hit enter to accept. That's the manual calibration. You can hit back to hit run again, and it'll put it back to the run screen, and you can now see that the pH is 4.0. I don't really hold too much on that last digit. The 100th point is, you really pay attention to your number and your 10th spots for the most part. You can look at that 100th position, but it will be moving a lot, or you see it's fluctuating 1/100th of a point, which is nothing really. At this point, at 4, you notice that the relay 1 is on. If you recall in the previous video, we set that to go on at 6.4 and below. So it's below that 6.4 reading and turns off at about 6.5. So if I put the probe back into a higher pH solution, like if I was adding caustic or lime to this process, pH would be rising. Now eventually it's going to rise here above the off point, and now the relay has turned off. So it would have if my set point to turn off was 6.5, it's gone above that 6.5, so that's why that relay has turned off. I believe relay 2 is the acid or coagulant feed, and I had that set at a much higher limit to go on, so it hasn't high enough actually to activate the on of the acid relay, which is 2. Hope that helps.